We're pleased to have joining us outside the courthouse in Las Vegas, a Las Vegas-based criminal defense attorney, also previously having served as a judge, a writer, a performer, truly a Renaissance man. Dayvid Figler spending some time with us, regular commentator for KNPR and All Things Considered for National Public Radio. Dayvid, good to have you with us here.
The facts of this case, if you look at the duck test, you know, it's not walking like a duck and it's not talking like a duck. And if you didn't put duct tape around the bill and put it into a different room, it's probably not kidnapping a duck. But, you know, this judge is saying technically, I'm saying this follows within the inveigle and decoy and all the other words that our Nevada State Legislature put in there.
After an appropriate jail sentence.
Well, that's the problem here, is that the judge perceived that the law didn't allow him to do that. So instead of going through what we would think would be acceptable channels of changing that law, he decided to take the riskiest gambit of all. Here's a judge who's frustrated with the system, so he decides, despite the people who are impacted by it, that he's going to make a test case. He's going to make a test case by giving this guy this light sentence. However, had this guy done something else while in this short period of time, had he re-offended, had he molested someone else, well then Judge Cashman would have been a test case for probably the quickest recall in history of Vermont.
Where a drop of blood isn't spilled doesn't mean that a terrible crime isn't committed, right?
No, and that's the whole point, is that we do see these all the time, and so that does create a spectrum. And the spectrum here is a little bit lower, at least where this falls on the spectrum is a little bit lower than a more violent setting. I mean, it really does go to what the defense is trying to establish here, which is what was the real intent. In the statement itself, she says she doesn't recall exactly when she put him in. It might have been 9, it might have been 10, it might have been later. Again, saying that it's just 9 o'clock is a way of not looking at the circumstance of when she gave the statement, which was after she was basically pried off of the body to stop doing CPR after he was already declared dead. This is, you know, the Incredible Hulk of cases exposed to the gamma rays of media everywhere. So, you know, all bets off with regard to how she treats that issue, whether she gives a questionnaire when she otherwise wouldn't give a questionnaire in a mere robbery where no one was hurt, kidnapping where no one was really carried away. That's a big subject of discourse among a lot of courthouse observers right now. The old adage goes, you can indict a ham sandwich if you want and get the case to go forward. But sometimes when there's hams involved, you know, everybody wants a little bit of face time. Joining us now outside Las Vegas Courthouse to guide us through all of this, criminal defense attorney Dayvid Figler, who's a real Renaissance man, has become one of our favorite guests here, a former judge, well-known trial lawyer, regular commentator for KNPR and All Things Considered for National Public Radio. We're always glad to have Dayvid with us. He brings a great perspective to all of this.